I hope you're well. My name's Alasdair and I'm Head of Digital Transformation here at Cloud Cover IT. So thank you for joining us today for our Lunch and Learn, where we'll be discussing how you can improve your employee wellbeing with one of our new Teams apps called Gauge.it. So for anyone who isn't familiar with Cloud Cover IT, we're a team which focuses on IT managed services and digital transformation companies which we're based in Glasgow. Our mission here at Cloud Cover is to provide organisations with IT solutions that increases both productivity and efficiency. We have recently developed gauge.it, a Microsoft Teams application that helps us to achieve on our mission. And luckily, as a Gauld Microsoft partner, we've been able to work closely with Microsoft through the development stage to make sure that it's an app that's easily downloaded through the store of Microsoft. So we created gauge.it to support organisations in their effort to foster employee wellbeing. With daily wellbeing engagement for staff and anonymous feedback for their line managers, gauge.it was built to ensure the mood of the team is always monitored and always understood. So in today's session, over the next kind of half hour, we want to discuss why gauge.it is necessary and the challenges it's been created to overcome, the key features of it, how it's implemented and how it will benefit your organisation, and of course, I'll demonstrate the product and then we've got some time at the end, hopefully, for some questions. So the challenge, firstly. So as a managed service provider with over 160 clients, the concept of gauge.it came about during the pandemic when the majority of organisations for us and around the world became working from home primarily. We recognised the challenges that this would bring to organisations as ultimately brought us the same challenges. Communication would have been was difficult. Leadership struggled to monitor employee wellbeing and behaviour. It was very hard to gauge the moral levels within the team, and employees working remotely were often feeling disconnected from both colleagues and the leadership team. As you can see from the stats on screen, failure to address these challenges obviously can have a huge consequence within the business and within the team that you're working. And although as people start to return to work, a lot are still working on a hybrid working model. So these challenges still remain across many organisations. Hence why we started to look at what the solution could be. So gauge.it, it was created and it was important for us to have an easy way of bringing this solution in front of everyone. So the way we picked was we aimed to create a solution that was in Teams. As with over 500,000 organisations using Microsoft Teams, we wanted to build that solution on the platform as it was easy for staff who are ultimately already engaging with the platform to keep their day-to-day business within there, and you're not having to do training on separate third-party applications, which can cause a bit of disruption. Downloading new software across the business is never fun. So what we're going to do is we want to discuss some of the key features of the gauge.it product and talk about how it can overcome some of the challenges. So one of the key things that we wanted to look at was the concept of anonymous data being pushed back to the line manager. What we wanted to do was the first thing is a team has to be a minimum of 5 users, and the team leader, the line manager can schedule where these messages get sent to the user. So pulling from Active Directory, the line manager will be able to view all the reports, set the time, give the group a name, and then they would be able to prompt a bot to send the message to those users at that time each day. When the employee is notified, they'll be able to see a prompt, and that option is positive, negative, or neutral. The employee then can select how they're feeling, and then what it can do is it will prompt them to leave a wee comment. And again, all this data is totally anonymous as it's coming back to the metrics of the line manager. So they don't necessarily need to leave a comment every time, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to prompt the user to give them quick hit feedback so that that line manager can start to judge how the team are behaving. So the leadership then, at the end of each day, they'll be able to go in the next day and view the metrics that are there. So each day, once the data is collected, it doesn't populate into the metrics until the following day. And again, that's to increase that level of anonymous data being published in front of the team store, and to stop the line managers being able to kind of try and track who's putting the data in. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'm going to do a quick demo of the product. So for this demo, hopefully you can see my screen in a wee second, I'm going to use 2 accounts. So we've got 2 people here, 2 teams set up, 2 different users. So we've got Nestor, who on the organizational chart within the team is the line manager. And we've got Megan, one of the team members, who are sitting down in the organizational chart. What we can see from Nestor is he's got 7 reports underneath him within the business. And what Nestor wants to do is Nestor wants to download Gauge.it, and he wants to send the team that bot message each day to try and see how the team's feeling, because all of them are working remotely. So starting with Nestor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Gauge.it app. So by opening the Gauge.it app, the first thing that Nestor's prompted with as he downloads the application is a welcome, and which highlights the kind of core features within the application. So let's get started, and I've pre-populated the data here before the demo. But what that's doing is that's going away and checking what Nestor's reports are. So that's linking back to Active Directory and pulling the data down. Just give it a wee second, as my internet loves to do this through a demo. But what we see here is I put in 5 of the 7 team members into Gauge.it at the moment. What I can do is I can go into manage that team, and I can change the group name. I can change that notification time to whatever I want. Now I can add it to 12 o'clock in the day. Normally I would keep it to kind of late in the day because the day's done. That's when most people will put in their kind of how their day was going. But for the purpose of the demo, I moved it back to 10 o'clock. So we've got a message on Megan's side. What I can do here is I can add the other 2 users, or I can start to remove people as well. But what happens here is it stops me saving this because ultimately I've only got 4 people in my group. And the reason we keep to 5 people within the group is that's Microsoft's recommendation for anonymous data. Anything less than that, then theoretically the line manager could start to work out who that data is from. And we're wanting this to be informational in terms of the health of the team. And then the manager can start to engage with the team to judge what that well-being is and what actions need to be taken to resolve it. So we're going to cancel that at the moment. And what we'll do here is we'll jump over to what Megan sees. So coming over to Megan, as an end user of this product, what Megan gets is a notification from Gauge.it. Now, the first notification that Megan will get is the bot message to say that someone, or Nestor, has added her to a group where they're wanting to track the kind of feedback. And it highlights it's all anonymous data, so the user feels comfortable with inputting how they feel. So coming down, if I go into the group, again, because Megan in the organizational structure doesn't have any reports underneath her, what it'll come up and say that there's a problem and that they don't have any reports within the business that interact with them. So the main purpose of engagement here is through the bot. So here's today's one that came in at 10 o'clock this morning. What I can do is I can then select which face that I want to hit. So I've hit the smiley face at the moment. And then what I can say is, well, and then I can submit that. If the user doesn't submit the comment, the gauge.it is still captured that there's been a positive response. So if they don't want to leave a comment, they don't need to. The product is capturing that first hit bit information. But I can hit submit. So again, what that will do there is that will store that data until tomorrow, where it will prompt Nestor with all the group's information for that team. So let's go back to Nestor. And then what he's got is he's got a tab here for metrics. So what I can start to see is I can start to see how my team is feeling across the week there. So I can start to see, is it generally a negative feeling across the team? And what we can start to see is people leave us comments. So we can start to see why they're feeling that way. And then what we can do here is we can jump back to the following week. And again, we can see the engagement. So it was 92% of the team were engaging. And that the general mood was good, but there was quite a few negative comments in here. And we can start to see that there's too many meetings. We can start to see that they're needing a bit of support because the workload's too much for them. But also the positive side of it. So they've had a really good day. It's been really positive, and they just want to put that nice message in. So again, this is very much the first iteration of gauge.it that we're showing here today. So when I jump back to the PowerPoint, what I want to highlight here is the next steps for the product. So although the product is available to show at the moment, 2 seconds, let me just jump to the right slide. There we go. So although the product's in version 1 at the moment, we're currently almost finished with the second version of the product. So you can go download it as it is today, and then mid-August, what we'll be starting to do is we'll be pushing the updated version of it. And there's a few things we've started to do here. Firstly, we've given it a wee bit of a user interface refresh, just to make it more engaging. And we've also included a dashboard for the user, the end user. So Megan would be able to go in and see her own metrics over the course of the weeks. And then she'll be able to see the comments she's left, the group that she's in, and then she can see how her mood has trended across the month and the weeks. Nestor will get an updated one as well. And what we've started to do is we've started to put a wee bit more functionality where the bot is also doing a wee bit more work, and it's starting to push things to the manager where they can action things off of it. So if the general average score of the team is projecting as being quite a negative one, mainly because the morale is quite low, what we can do there as a manager, we can schedule a meeting with the team and discuss the problems, or we can schedule a meeting with an individual that we potentially feel is generally quite low. And although we say it's anonymous, nothing is stopping the person making themselves noticeable in that message by referencing themselves if they wanted to release something that the manager had to act on. So again, this version is due to come in August. We are almost there with the development of it. And there is version 3 and version 4 sitting there with a roadmap. However, if you download it, it would be great to get some of your feedback and some features that you feel would be worthwhile being in this product as well, of course. It's a product that will continue to grow over the coming years. So again, to recap, the key benefits of gauge.it. We want to make it easier for leadership to to act on employee wellbeing, ensure the employees know that the leadership team and line managers, everyone within the business cares about wellbeing. We act on any changes in morale or anything like that really quickly, like we would have done in the office when everyone was available. The line manager could see how their team were by how they were acting, and then anyone wanted to raise any issues, they'd be acted on quite quickly when everyone was in the office. We want to engage and we want to improve the engagement with employees and, of course, reduce turnover of team members. So in front of you, you'll see some of the stats, and it highlights the importance of fostering employee wellbeing and the impact it can have. So 94% of leaders believe in improving current employee happiness makes it easier to recruit new staff. 87 believe it gives them a competitive advantage, and 85 investing in employee wellbeing improves the engagement. So as you can see, it's a relatively simple solution at the moment, and we've got a pipeline to further increase the features as we go. Any questions at the moment?
Thank you very much for that, Alasdair. That was great to see. We've had some good questions coming in, so we'll pop through. One has been answered on the Q&A portal, but I'll maybe just ask you just to give clarity, Ali, and that is how would anyone on the call or anyone watching the recording of this session after, how would they go about downloading gauge.it?
I think that's a good question. What I'll do is I will show my screen. Can you see the team site on my screen at the moment?
Not just yet, Ali, not just yet.
That's what I thought. 2 seconds. For some reason, it's decided to freeze.
Curse of the demo, hey? Curse of the demo.
Let's go into Wells. 2 seconds. Give me a second. There we go. Right, can you see that on screen at the moment?
Yes, indeed, Ali. Yes.
So all we have to do is the 3 dots, which everyone will have at the side of their teams. You go into more applications and you just search for gauge.it. And it will appear here. It's on our dev tenancy at the moment, hence why you see a few versions of it. And what you're able to do is you're able to buy a subscription. Comes with a free 1-month trial, and then thereafter it's £1 per user per month.
Perfect, Ali. Thank you very much. Another very good question come in. Does this connect with Microsoft Viva? And I don't know if it's worth, Ali, just a very brief intro to Viva for those on the call who maybe haven't heard or come across it just yet.
Yes, Viva is Microsoft's intro into using Teams to look at well-being, and a few others. There's 4 areas of Viva, which are very useful across the Teams platform. Now, some of you might be aware of Viva. It's the one that sends you a message to say that you're in too many meetings through the week and things like that, as it starts to monitor your usage across the M365 platform. We are planning to, at some point, link it into Viva. It's very much in that roadmap at the moment. So yeah, watch this space. We are developing it in line with the mission of Viva. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Ali. Another good question. Obviously, we talked of the minimum team size of 5, which is aligned with delivering anonymity. The question that's come asking if there is a max on team size.
No, at the moment there's no maximum.
Perfect.
The majority we're seeing are a lot around about 20-25 team members. Of course, the minimum of 5 exists just to retain that concept of anonymous.
Perfect, perfect. And actually, a really good question from Abigail here this time, and that was, can Nestor's manager see his team's results also? So I guess that's the idea of that structure in terms of maybe organizational leader looking at overarching different team performances in a business, I guess.
Yes. So the way we built it is if the line manager structure is there, and then, for instance, the line manager reports to the leadership team or the CEO, they would have their own one that reports back to the CEO. So the structure very much in Cloud Cover is I get a bot message which reports back to our CEO, Lance.
Perfect. Thanks, Ali. Question this time from Doug. Does the team member have to have Teams running to receive the notification?
Yes, ultimately it does, but if you've got, so just like any notification that comes across Teams, it will notify you on your mobile if you've got that Teams client installed on the mobile. And if you've got the desktop client there, it will notify you. If it's closed down, like anything, it won't, but it just acts like any other notification across the Teams desktop client.
Perfect. Another good question come in, Ali, but I think you did answer it, and it just around the timeline on V2 of the product, but I think we're looking at August, aren't we? You mentioned on that.
Yeah, so we're in sprint 3 of 4 at the moment, and sprint 4 is all about testing. So we are hoping to start pushing that out to live mid-August at the moment.
Brilliant, Alasdair. Thank you very much. That's all the questions that have certainly come through. So it looks like that's us there. Obviously, I'm sure you would do it as well, Alasdair, but encourage anyone either on the live session today or picking up on a recording. Any questions, reach out to us.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us today, and we'll be scheduling another Lunch and Learn soon. Thank you.
Thanks all.